And welcome back to the Smart Tank Revolution, where we always kick out at 2. I am your host, the benevolent intelligent, the always gracious, the excellence of elocution, Mr. Donnie Wonderful. And welcome back to another installment of the Essentials, where we rank professional wrestlers, sports entertainers, whatever you like to call them. Today, I will be popping the proverbial cherry, the essentials proverbial cherry, and I decided to venture on over to the WCW side. Today we're going to be talking about the icon Sting, the man they call Sting, the man of many looks, many colors of face paint, many years. Sting is 63 years old today. Man, that's just that alone. And recently, I believe at the last AEW pay-per-view, I think he took a bump. I think he took some type of bump, maybe bumps through tables rather. Sting, listen, Sting right now is the George Foreman slash Bernard Hopkins of wrestling. The fact that he can still do the Stinger splash with the same conviction, I'll admit the hang time definitely not getting that high up anymore. But at least he can do it. Like, he's still very, robust and cat like. And I laugh, but I really honestly mean that. I mean, in wrestling years, 40 is old. The sketch, actually, again, if you listen to our episodes, we don't plan any of this stuff out. Like, this is really just us spewing out the thoughts that come to mind when we rank these wrestlers. But what I was actually going to say, I was thinking more so on the WWF slash WWE, the new generation attitude era schedule where they were wrestling like 4 to 5 days out of the week or something hectic like that. I don't know, or I don't actually have any references of what the WCW schedule was. So I'm going to make an assumption, and I could be wrong. And if you all know the answer to this, please feel free to correct me in the comments. We will definitely answer and oblige. But if the WCW guys back in the 90s, well, we'll say late 80s, 90s, by 2001, WCW had folded. So if the WCW years, if Sting wasn't as active as, if their schedule wasn't as hectic, I don't want to say active, if the schedule wasn't as hectic as the WWF years, then that may have preserved him, because Lord, I know Hulk Hogan's roughly around the same age, and they look completely different, and they're able to do different things. And I know that, different injuries, and like Sting's finisher was a submission, so that's more safer. But all things considered, Sting is 63 years old, and he's an active wrestler on AEW now. So congratulations to him and the fountain of youth that I pray that he shares with us all. But let's, before we actually get into the rankings, the only thing that I actually looked up and researched were the WCW champions from the 80s all the way to 2001, because up until this point, and we're about 10 episodes in right now at the time of recording, we've primarily ranked WWF, WWE legends. I was wondering which one of us were going to be first with the WCW guys, but then I had to look and see which WCW wrestler would have the bulk of his success and the bulk of his prime, especially when we get down to the Smart Tank Revolution rating system. Which wrestler can we say we can pull most of that from WCW? Obviously, I mean, Ric Flair would be safe, but I mean, Ric Flair has had, I mean, this the territory is way too much. Just like like the last episode I believe that I recorded was Jerry Lawler. You know, a lot of prime Memphis things. Then he came over to WWF, WWE later. But we look at Vader, who's now a WWE Hall of Famer. You know, the New Japan years, the WCW years, Vader, you know, kind of safe, but you know, like there's a WWE presence there. Um, Luger, WW, WWF, yeah, just WWF. Um, but you know, like the majority of it was WCW, but still, you know, there's some WWF. So there's some, you know, there's a WWF experience there. Sting it's mainly Sting. I believe DDP was the other. Sting, DDP, and Vader. If well, we're doing Sting now, but the majority of their careers that we can rank comes from WCW. I may be missing one. I doubt it. Ron Simmons was a champion, but you know, again, WWF, WWE. So I'm interested in where I'm going to take this one because I have no idea where we're going to go. But yes, this is the Icon Sting. Now, we rank these wrestlers based on two unique and very special rating systems. And one of them, and the first one we always begin with, comes from Bret Hart in his book, My Real Life in the Cartoon World of Wrestlers, where wrestling, sorry. Let me get that right. Let me backtrack. Bret Hart's book, My Real Life in the Cartoon World of Wrestling. That was the first time I've heard, or read rather, this special way that Bret Hart ranks wrestlers. And he rates them from a 1 to 10 scale. Now, there's three categories in this. It's a wrestler's look, his promo ability, and his in-ring work. And then from there, we're going to switch over to our very special, unique rating system, which also rates three things, but on a more stricter scoring scale from 1 to 5. And the descriptions of both are in the description box. If you feel free to read those if you're not already abreast with them. And we're gonna go jump in to Bret Hart's rating system first, and we're gonna begin with the wrestler's look. So, Sting, the icon with the wrestler's look, and there's years worth of it here, and I think that's a plus. Wrestlers that can successfully pull off different looks is great. It's great to me. Um, Surfer Sting was my personal favorite because I really loved the music. Sting is one of the wrestlers that, you know, by the time he went over to the Crow Sting, he kind of pulled what The Undertaker did, in my opinion. Reinvented himself, kept himself fresh, kept himself interesting, with both his look and his ring attire. I'm really big on ring attire. Anything that coordinates always catches my eye and looks attractive to me. Also, along with that wrestling look was this physique. Sting is about 6'2". 6'2", I'll give him 6'3". Um, in his prime years, I know that he and the Ultimate Warrior were bodybuilders. So even though I could Google it for the sake of, you know, just being and shooting off the cuff with this, I just want to I'll take a guess and say Sting at most was about like 250 solid muscle. He looked like a wrestler, presented himself like a wrestler. His look to me was flawless, in my opinion. But I'm still going to give it a 9. because I realize that I've been giving like perfect tens on wrestlers look, and I really have no definitive reason why I do it. Like I'm like, hey, this guy looks good. I gave Shawn Michaels a 10 because, you know, hell. And you know what? I'm sorry. All right. Look, bipolar, just like the way we rank our matches. Yes, 10. I mean, because Sting physically looked better than Shawn Michaels. If I was walking down a dark alley and a mugger was approaching, if he looked like Sting, I mean, I'm going to oblige you either way. But like Sting, at least I'm looking at Sting like, hey, all right, this might be a 50-50 deal versus Shawn Michaels. No offense, but you know, like I'm also not a small guy myself. I'm 6'4", like 250 myself. So, like a tight end in today's NFL. But I'm also gonna use that standard going forward. So wrestlers look, I give Sting, especially in his early surfer years, multicolored face paint, color coordinated tights and boots. That's definitely a 10. As he got older and started wearing the long legged singlet, you know, the definition muscle tone, the definition started to decline, but that happens when we get older. But still it suited him, and it suited him well. The NWO looks, with the face paint that was red and black, the long hair, 10. The Crow look, 10. The Joker look, 10. The Icon look, 8. But still, overall, 10. All right. So now we go to Sting's promo ability, and this one's kind of interesting. So I remember opening up the Jerry Lawler episode of The Essentials. If you haven't checked that out, please feel free to check that out after this one. But I remember prefacing it saying that if you had more years behind you, it would be easier for certain categories. And during Sting's years, they're not writing their promos. They're really given the freedom to just say what they want, or they're being pitched an idea that they're able to put the words together themselves and kind of craft it themselves. Sting's promo abilities, in my opinion, were always believable. I mean, hell, like when the Crow Sting gimmick was hot, there was a while where he said nothing, and he was still able to command the crowd, the storyline itself, his opponents. I mean, just out of nothing, out of a stare and pointing his baseball bat at you, just communicated enough. But as far as his verbal promo ability, I'm trying to pinpoint a promo that really kept me at the edge of my seat with Sting. I can't think of any. The TNA Joker stuff was entertaining to me, but I can't really think of any. So I want to be a bit more strict and just give him an average score here, even though you can make an argument that he's above average. And I do believe that he is. His comeback promo with Tony Schiavone in AEW was all genuine. And, I gave him praise for that. I mean, the man can articulate himself. And, he's actually, Steve Warden's a smart man, sound, intellect, everything. So the promo ability is there, but I'm kind of on the fence of how I should rate this, because average kind of is a slap to the face if you're calling somebody an icon, because that, in my opinion, that encompasses so much. And the very essence of wrestling outside of those ropes is being able to convey a message that everyone can understand and that everybody's going to want to see. And I do feel that he's done that well. 7.5. Okay, 7.5. C plus. C plus. The more I say it, the more I want to. I'm fighting the urge to just move it to an 8, but 7.5 And I'm just going to go to the next category just because I don't want to keep going back and forth with this. Because I definitely will. I definitely will. And then the last thing that Bret um, would take into account is the in-ring work, scored from 1 to 10. Yes, 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 yes. I never really liked Sting's punches though. The back slaps, and the reason why I never really liked them, not visually he looks good doing them, but in my era, growing up where we were impressionable kids, when we did them to each other, those are the punches that really hurt. If you're playing wrestling, playing wrestler, if you chop or hit like Sting, there's no way in the world you can work that. So I never liked taking them. And I had a buddy of mine that used to always punch us like how Sting did, turn his body to the side, kind of hit you with the side palm of your hand, and it always hurt like hell. So there's some trauma here. There's some personal animosity that's literally going to affect how I grade this. Outside of that, I love Sting's work. You know, the Scorpion Deathlock. I'm a Bret Hart fan, so that's always going to be the sharpshooter. Great finish. I even loved how he used to apply it. He used to do it a lot quicker than Bret. Bret did it more methodical and kind of robot-like. Just, all right, foot in, crease the opponent's thigh, put it over, spin. You guys know how the sharpshooter is. Like Bret Hart made it look so surgical. Sting, the way he did it, Sting just made it look more athletic to me though. And Bret was a lefty, if I'm not mistaken, and Sting was a righty. So, you know that now I know I'm just getting way too much into the intricate details of it. That's probably irrelevant, but the in-ring work. Now I'm going to rate Sting here in. I'm gonna give him let me give him 8.5, 8.5. I'll give him an 8.5. Sting could perform. Sting is, he's performing now, so you know, like I've never had a problem with his in-ring work. Um, Shoot, I guess like the only match that I had a problem with wasn't even his fault. I mean, no disrespect to Jeff Hardy and on Victory Road, but like if you were TNA fans, I was actually looking forward to that. I was looking forward to that. And unfortunately, Jeff Hardy wasn't in any condition at all to perform that night, so Sting had to do what he had to do. Boom, boom, boom. One, two, three. All right, let's get out of here. Just to try to save face. So yeah, I think what was his wrestlers look? I gave him 10, 7.5, and 8.5. I already forgot. But now we're gonna go to the Smart Tank Revolutions, our unique rating system, which is called the Essentials here. And again, you know, we score from 1 to 5, with the halves in between just to make things interesting. And we also scale 3 things. And the first one is the innovative effectiveness, the ability to work as a baby face or heel. Sting kind of suffers from the Hulk Hogan appeal here. Sting was always a baby face, in my opinion. You know, he did have some heel runs there, here and there, sprinkled here and there, but you know, Sting's beloved. He's a beloved babyface. I think he could work as a heel. Yeah, of course he can. But you know, for the pretty much the 90s, Sting was the flag bearer for WCW as their leading babyface. Now, before, the interesting thing is, I wonder how the NWO would have looked and performed had they went with the original plan to make Sting the mysterious third member, thus making him heel. That would have been interesting. I would have been. That's a real curious what if. But the innovative effectiveness, again, going back at it, the ability to work as a baby face or a heel. The baby face side is clearly, you know, perfect. That's perfect 5. The heel, not so much. So that's kind of like a 2 for me, because there's just not enough there for me to the pendulum didn't swing both ways enough for me to say he was just as good as a heel as he was a babyface. The psychology there, can he work as a heel? Yeah, absolutely. The psychology there, yo, absolutely. I mean, they don't call him the icon for nothing, but here I'm just trying to go off more so off of facts and what was presented to us, and we had more presentation as babyface Sting than heel Sting. So I'm gonna call it right down the middle, just like Bill Alfonso, right down the middle, and the halfway mark, and give him a 3 here, and I think that's fair. And it's a strong 3 because he's a strong 5 as a babyface. The heel part, that's up for debate. I said 2, but I have to condense them and make it 1 score. So 3, right there. So, and we're going to go into classic matches and classic rivalries. I want to say the classic rivalry, the one that boiled blood, in my opinion, that I remember, was 1995, Sting and Ric Flair. Sting and Ric Flair, in my opinion, had great matches. That may have been 1996, before the introduction of the Outsiders. There's, gosh, I'll even go to the early 90s with the classic rivalries with Sting, the rivalry that he had with the Dangerous Alliance. If you don't remember the Dangerous Alliance, and I know a lot of people won't, but if you don't remember the Dangerous Alliance, Google them. Steve Austin, Paul Heyman, or Paulie Dangerously back then. Man, I can't remember offhand. But yeah, Sting in the Dungeon of Doom. Well, this one is more of a sleeper match. Sting versus Ming at Fall Brawl, I think. I don't know, but yeah, there's quite a few of them. The good matches, actually. Those classic rivalries really carry the mantle here. The classic matches, though. Um, Sting, or Ric Flair. I mean, like any of their title, Ric Flair, gosh, was good and wrestled everyone. But yeah, Sting and Ric Flair, those are some really, really, really good matches that I don't think are talked about enough because they were on the WCW side of things. Um, I'm gonna go a 4 here. I'm gonna go a 4 because anytime that you can have multiple great matches with Ric Flair with the Nature Boy, it means a lot. It speaks volumes, in my opinion. And that's also uh, up for debate, or if anybody wants to edify it, definitely please hit us up in the comment section. We read them. We oblige. I would love to know what your opinions are of some of Sting's classic matches and rivalries. Throw them. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Wow. 4.4.5, 4.5. Sting and Vader. Oh gosh, that's some good wrestling. That is some great wrestling. I am so sorry. 4.5. 4.5. Uh, and now we have the defining and redefining moments here, which kind of self-explanatory. The career-defining moments of a wrestler. Oh man, okay. Multiple title runs. They kind of go hand in hand with the classic matches and rivalries. The rivalry with Ric Flair, the rivalry with Big Van Vader, the constant, repackaging, re-imaging that constantly worked. I mentioned all of that in the intro of it. Surfer Sting, Joker Sting, Scarecrow Sting, Old Man Sting, whatever, the Icon Sting. I mean, like the redefining moments are literally him redefining himself. And I think that, again, he, Undertaker, Chris Jericho, Matt Hardy to a certain degree, um, those are the ones that I'll throw Booker T in there as a singles. There's certain wrestlers that just know how to keep themselves relevant, that know when to change their look, that know when to change their persona or add a little something, or add a little something spicy, or re-season the meat, so to speak. Pause. But you know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I think Sting's one of them. I'm gonna give him a perfect 5 here. I can't really reel off the defining moments that everyone will agree with, but one that is very near dear to me involved Ric Flair. 2001, the last episode of Monday Nitro. We all know it's the last episode of Monday Nitro, and it was more so of a tribute match to what they were able to do on TNT and TBS for years. Sting versus Ric Flair, to me, in my opinion, that was defining to me, because I said, you know what, this may be something that we might reference for years. Up until that point, I don't remember seeing the last show of a promotion. I don't remember that. 2001, like, yeah, yeah. That I don't remember the last show of a promotion televised the way that it was. Even ECW was reincarnated in WWE fashion, but not WCW. I thought that was defining for me, and I thought that you couldn't pick two better performers to do that. Only Sting and Ric Flair can pull that off. Sting deserves a perfect 5 here. And this was the Essentials featuring the man they call Sting. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for listening to us. Um, Check out the videos on the playlist, and we'll be right back at you with another. The Essentials. I'm Donnie Wonderful, signing off.